Variables are essential in video games, allowing us to store and manipulate data dynamically. In Sonic Engine, there are 5 different types of variables: text, number, Boolean, array, and structure. However, in this video, we'll focus on text, number, and Boolean variables only. Let's start with the basic number variable. If I preview this game, you can see that character moves around, and when it collects gems, they disappear. But the gem count doesn't increase, so let's fix that. To add a variable to the game, we first need to declare it. We can do this by opening the scene variable panel. This can be accessed either by right-clicking or using this button in the properties panel. Once in the scene variable panel, we can create an editor variable. Let's name it score and add it. Now let's move to the event sheet. We have already added a condition and an action. Condition: player collides with the coin. Action: delete the coin. Now we'll add another action to update or add change variable value. We have two options: general object and variable, general and variable. We'll use general and variable here. Since we already have a scene score variable, we will select it here. Set modification to add, increase the value by 1. Add another action: modify text, object UI score, modification sign sets is equal, and text score colon plus score, and then OK. As you can see in the preview that new coins are being created and reflected in the coin store. Now let's work on the global variables. Then on the left side we can open a panel with the global variables where we can see and add global variables. We'll name it as global score, and by adding its number we'll apply it. Then we replace the scene variable with the global variable named as global score, and similarly the text scene variable will be replaced with the global variable. Now let's talk about scene variables and how to add a variable to an enemy object. We'll create a variable called direction for the enemy and set its type to Boolean, meaning it can be either true or false. Open the properties panel while selecting the enemy object. Under instance variables, we'll see the direction variable we just created. Now in the event sheet, we need to add a condition and apply it to an object, which in this case is the enemy. The condition will check the direction variable of the enemy object. The action will apply a force to the enemy's movement. The object is the enemy. The applied force is 50 per second on the x-axis while keeping the y-axis at 0. Now we'll copy and paste the same condition below. However, this time we'll invert the logic. What was true in the first condition will become false in the second. The positive force plus 50 will turn negative into minus 50 to ensure the enemy moves in the opposite direction. This setup allows the enemy to move back and forth, creating collision dynamically. Now we'll add a new condition that detects when the enemy collides with the right arrow object. We'll then copy and paste the same condition below, but this time the right arrow will be replaced by the left arrow. After detecting a collision, we'll add an action to set the direction variable to true. Similarly, we'll copy and paste the same condition and action, but this time we'll change true to false to reverse the movement. You can check the enemy movement in the preview. We can also use local variables for more dynamic interactions. By right-clicking, we can access the Add Local Variable option. Here we'll create a variable to store a randomized object, which will allow us to introduce random behavior into our game. Now we can add an action using randomized object variable wherever we have applied variables. We can also modify its value dynamically. Finally, we'll add a simple condition to compare the randomized object variable to 0. Multiple variables can be created to add further depth and randomness to our game. That's a wrap for today's video, but this is just the beginning. Sonic Engine has so much more to explore. Stay tuned for more exciting tutorials and unleash your creativity with no-code game development.